Your environment is more powerful than most people realize. It quietly shapes your thoughts, influences your decisions, and slowly builds the identity you carry through life. Many people believe that success or failure depends only on personal effort, intelligence, or luck, but what they often forget is that the environment they live in is constantly affecting the way they think about themselves and their future. Human beings are deeply influenced by the people and surroundings they experience every day. The conversations you hear, the attitudes you observe, and the behaviors that surround you begin to feel normal over time. When something becomes normal, it becomes easy to adopt without even realizing it. That is how your environment slowly shapes who you are becoming. Imagine spending years surrounded by people who constantly complain about life, people who focus only on problems, who believe success is impossible, and who see every challenge as an excuse to give up. At first, you might feel different from them. You might believe that their mindset will never affect you, but slowly, without warning, their perspective begins to influence your thinking. Their doubts begin to sound familiar. Their fears begin to feel reasonable. The environment you stay in repeatedly sends messages to your mind about what is possible and what is not. If you are surrounded by people who settle for less, your ambitions slowly begin to shrink. If you are constantly around individuals who avoid responsibility, you may begin to see effort as unnecessary, not because you want to change, but because your mind adapts to what it sees most often. This is why environment plays such a powerful role in shaping identity. Your identity is not only built by your dreams or intentions, it is also built by the standards that exist around you. When the people around you expect little from themselves, the standard for growth becomes low. Over time, you may start accepting those same low standards for your own life, but the opposite is also true. When you place yourself in an environment where people are constantly learning, improving, and challenging themselves, something powerful happens inside you. Their discipline begins to influence your habits. Their determination begins to inspire your actions. Their belief in progress begins to expand your vision. You begin to realize that growth is not something extraordinary. It becomes part of the culture around you. Hard work becomes normal. Self-improvement becomes natural. Ambition becomes something that is encouraged instead of criticized. Your environment is constantly asking you one silent question: who are you becoming? Every day you absorb the attitudes, behaviors, and expectations of the people around you. You begin to mirror the energy you are exposed to. If your environment celebrates progress, you begin to pursue progress. If your environment rewards laziness and excuses, those behaviors slowly become acceptable. This influence often happens quietly. There is rarely a dramatic moment where you suddenly realize that your environment has changed you. Instead, it happens gradually. Small thoughts begin to shift. Small habits begin to form. Small compromises begin to appear in your standards. One day, you may look at your life and wonder why you are not moving forward the way you once imagined. You may question why your confidence has weakened or why your goals feel distant. In many cases, the answer is not a lack of potential. The answer is the environment that has been shaping your mindset. Your identity grows in the direction of the influences you allow into your life. If you allow constant negativity, doubt, and fear to surround you, your identity will slowly reflect those same qualities. But if you surround yourself with curiosity, courage, and growth, your identity begins to transform in that direction. Understanding the power of environment is the first step toward leading your own life. Because once you recognize how deeply it affects your thinking, you begin to see the importance of choosing your surroundings carefully. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and the energy you allow around you all contribute to the person you are becoming. Every environment carries its own culture, its own expectations, and its own beliefs about what life should look like. When you remain in a certain environment long enough, those beliefs slowly become part of your identity, not because someone forced them upon you, but because human beings naturally adapt to what surrounds them. The moment you understand this truth, you begin to look at your circle differently. You begin to notice how certain environments push you forward while others quietly hold you back. You begin to recognize that protecting your growth sometimes means protecting the environment that shapes your mind. Ambition is a delicate flame. It begins as a small spark inside your heart, a quiet belief that you are capable of more than the life you are currently living. It is the voice that encourages you to dream bigger, work harder, and imagine possibilities beyond the limits that others accept. But this flame does not grow in isolation. It grows or weakens depending on the environment and the people surrounding you. Negative circles have a subtle but powerful influence on ambition. They rarely destroy your dreams in one sudden moment. Instead, they slowly weaken your confidence through repeated doubt, criticism, and small discouraging remarks. Over time, these small influences begin to shape the way you see your own potential. A negative circle is not always obvious. It is not always made up of people who openly try to stop you. Sometimes it consists of individuals who have simply given up on their own dreams, people who have convinced themselves that success is unrealistic, that effort is pointless, and that staying comfortable is the safest option. When you spend enough time around people who believe this, their beliefs slowly begin to sound reasonable. You might share an idea about something you want to achieve, and instead of encouragement, you hear laughter or doubt. Someone might tell you that your goals are too ambitious, too risky, or too unrealistic. At first, you might ignore those voices. You might believe that their negativity will never influence your determination. But human minds are highly sensitive to repeated messages. When you constantly hear that something cannot be done, your mind begins to question whether it truly can. When you repeatedly see people choosing comfort over effort, your own discipline begins to weaken. Not because you want to give up, but because your environment slowly changes what feels normal. Negative circles often normalize mediocrity. They make average effort appear acceptable and ambition appear unnecessary. In such environments, people who aim higher are sometimes seen as unrealistic, arrogant, or overly ambitious. This creates an invisible pressure to shrink your dreams so that you fit comfortably within the expectations of the group. Ambition requires courage, and courage becomes difficult when it is surrounded by doubt. Imagine trying to run forward while the people around you are constantly pulling you backward. Even the strongest person will eventually feel the weight of that resistance. Another way negative circles destroy ambition is by encouraging excuses. In such environments, failure is rarely treated as a lesson or an opportunity to grow. Instead, it becomes proof that effort is pointless. People begin explaining their lack of progress through circumstances, luck, or unfair conditions. When excuses become common in a circle, they slowly become acceptable. Over time, you may begin to adopt the same explanations for your own struggles. Instead of asking yourself how you can improve, you begin focusing on why improvement might be impossible. Negativity also spreads through comparison and criticism. Some people feel uncomfortable when they see others chasing big dreams because it reminds them of the dreams they abandoned. Instead of encouraging you, they may try to bring your ambitions down to a level that feels more comfortable for them. These reactions are not always intentional. Often, people project their own fears onto others without realizing it. If someone believes that success is out of reach, they may struggle to support someone who believes otherwise. Their doubts are reflections of their own limitations, not of your potential. The danger of negative circles is that they slowly redefine what you believe is possible. They make you question whether your goals are realistic. They make discipline feel unnecessary. They make effort feel exhausting rather than meaningful. Over time, ambition begins to shrink. Dreams that once felt exciting start to feel distant. Goals that once motivated you begin to seem unrealistic. This transformation does not happen overnight. It happens gradually through repeated exposure to doubt, pessimism, and fear. Your mind absorbs the attitudes of the people around you. If you hear complaints every day, complaining begins to feel normal. If you hear excuses every day, making excuses begins to feel reasonable. If you hear people dismiss ambition every day, ambition begins to feel unnecessary. This is why auditing your circle becomes so important when you want to lead your own life. Protecting your ambition requires awareness of the voices that surround you. It requires recognizing whether the people in your environment are encouraging growth or quietly discouraging it, because ambition needs support to grow stronger. It needs environments where effort is respected, where dreams are discussed with excitement instead of doubt, and where challenges are seen as opportunities rather than obstacles. When ambition is surrounded by negativity, it struggles to survive. When ambition is surrounded by belief and determination, it begins to expand beyond limits you once thought impossible. Protecting your dreams requires more than just hope or hard work. It requires awareness of the people and environments that influence your thoughts, decisions, and actions. Many people underestimate how easily small mindsets can creep into your life and begin shaping your future without you realizing it. Your goals are fragile in the presence of negativity, doubt, and mediocrity because these forces slowly convince your mind that your dreams are too big, too risky, or even unnecessary. When you are surrounded by people who have accepted a life of comfort over challenge, their mindset begins to feel normal. Their fears, excuses, and limitations can quietly infiltrate your own thinking. You may start to hear their voice in your own head, telling you that your ambitions are unrealistic or that striving for more is unnecessary. Over time, this influence becomes so subtle that you may not even notice your goals shrinking. It is easy to believe that your dreams are strong enough to survive on their own, but ambition without protection is vulnerable. Even the most determined person can slowly lose sight of their vision when daily interactions constantly remind them of limits and constraints. The small, repeated messages of doubt become stronger than your initial excitement and courage. Before you know it, what once seemed possible now feels out of reach. The danger of small mindsets lies in their subtlety. They are rarely aggressive or direct. They do not shout at you or openly attack your goals. Instead, they whisper in moments of vulnerability. They make excuses sound reasonable. They normalize laziness, fear, and mediocrity. And because the mind adapts to what it experiences consistently, these messages gradually reshape the way you perceive yourself and your potential. When your circle tolerates settling for less, your own standard for effort begins to decline. You may find yourself questioning the value of discipline, consistency, and hard work. You may begin to delay action, thinking that small compromises or shortcuts are acceptable. What starts as minor adjustments slowly accumulates into a lifestyle where ambition no longer feels natural or necessary. Protecting your dreams requires courage. It requires the strength to recognize when certain influences are quietly holding you back. This is not about cutting off people arbitrarily or acting with arrogance. It is about creating an environment that actively supports your growth. It is about ensuring that your ambitions are nurtured rather than undermined by those you spend time with. To protect your goals, you must first identify the influences that affect your thinking. Observe the conversations, behaviors, and attitudes of those around you. Are they encouraging